He does exactly what I do, but better.
Frittata!
I absolutely despise Nintendo. Hate them down to the core. Don't care about their games. Don't care about Mario. Don't care about Zelda. Don't care about Pokemon. Don't care about Metroid. Believe it or not, some of us exist.
You can't do that. You have
Why
to go,
can't I do that?
You have to go by where.
And you know exactly the type of person I'm talking about. I mean, why else would you have clicked on this video? As a matter of fact, you should hit subscribe for that reason alone and get us to 100K. That way, when I get my silver play button, I can show myself unboxing it on camera. This is a face reveal 8 years in the making. Unlike a single Pokemon game, which all feel like they've been made in under 12 months. In my previous video, we discussed the ongoing lawsuit between Pocket Pair and Nintendo. And well, if you want to watch that and catch up on how wrong I was, I'll leave a link down below to the previous video. But I'll catch you up to date as quick as I can. Essentially, Nintendo has been trying to sue Pocket Pair on 3 different patents that involve gameplay features because they couldn't take them to court for character designs. Instead, Nintendo has chosen to take Pocket Pair to court over gameplay mechanics that they patented and claimed to have created, such as throwing a capture device in a 3D space that allows you to capture a monster and unleash it for battle. They also patented the ability to mount and fly creatures, and one patent focuses on character movement and collision specifically, involving character interactions and pathfinding. So these are 3 systems that the law has decided Nintendo can dictate who can and cannot use.
I never broke the law! I am the law!
That's right. So when you see Doom Guy mounting that dragon in the latest Doom, the Dark Ages trailer, I guess eventually they should expect Nintendo to be knocking at their door. Or Monster Hunter, or Temtem, or, well, you know, I can name you dozens of games that utilize this system. But as we discussed in the previous video, Nintendo is a very petty corporation who does not like to be outclassed or shined by indie devs who outdo them. So they've decided to solely go after Pocket Pair because they have a game that they deem is too similar to Pokemon. Well, in reality, what it is it's just better than Pokemon, and that's a threat to them. Just as we thought Pocket Pair had the upper hand in the court case with some decent arguments, it turns out no. Even though Nintendo had just barely filed for these patents as late as 2021, they have been able to swing the law in their favor and abuse this patenting law in order to get Palworld to drop crucial game mechanics from their game. I'm not even kidding. That is how evil Nintendo is. Regarding the lawsuit changes to Palworld and the future, we would like to express our sincere gratitude and appreciation for the continued support of our fans over the past few months. We apologize for not being able to share as much information as we would like, but trust our fans understand how difficult it is to be fully transparent while litigation is ongoing. Currently, we remain involved in prolonged legal proceedings regarding alleged patent infringement. We continue to dispute these claims and assert the invalidity of the patents in question. However, we have had to make certain compromises in order to avoid disruptions to development and distribution of Palworld. On November 30th, 2024, we released patch version 0.311 for Palworld. This patch removed the ability to summon pals by throwing pal spheres and instead changed it to a static summon next to the player. Several other game mechanics were also changed with this patch, as many have speculated these changes were indeed a result of the ongoing litigation. Everyone here at Pocket Pair was disappointed that this adjustment had to be made, and we fully understand that many players feel the same frustration. Unfortunately, as the alternative would have led to an even greater deterioration of the gameplay experience for players, it was determined that this change was necessary. Furthermore, we regret to inform our players that with the implementation of patch V0.55, we must make yet another compromise from this patch onward. Gliding will be performed using a glider rather than with pals. Pals in the player's team will still provide passive buffs to gliding, but players will now need to have a glider in their inventory in order to glide. We understand that this will be disappointing for many, just as it is for us, but we hope our fans understand that these changes are necessary in order to prevent further disruptions to the development of Palworld. We also want to extend our apologies to our fans for the discomfort and concern this ongoing litigation has caused. We remain committed to developing Palworld and delivering exciting new content to our fans. On behalf of everyone at Pocket Pair and Team Palworld, thank you again for your continued support.
Do you hate me now?
However much you love Nintendo, however much you love Pokemon or Game Freak, you cannot justify this. This is Nintendo abusing the law in order to eliminate competition. Rather than go out of their way to produce you the best Pokemon experience that you've been asking decades for, they're using their resources to stomp on people that are delivering that. Do you understand how insane this is? I don't think people get it. I don't think Nintendo fanboys can comprehend exactly what is happening right now. A major publisher and console manufacturer has just gotten a game studio to completely remove a game mechanic out of their game because they claim they have a right to it. A game that you paid for just got gameplay mechanics taken out of it because Nintendo said so. Your games are being affected negatively by this corporation. Can you grasp that? Can you understand what is wrong about this? If not, then like I've said video and video over again, we are fucked. This would be the equivalent of Square Enix going out of their way to patent turn-based role-playing RPG mechanics and then suing Expedition 33 into taking it right out of their game, even though you already paid. I don't even know how this is legal. I don't know how this passed in the court of law. This goes beyond anything I have ever seen any game developer do, or publisher, or manufacturer. This is the most anti-consumer thing I have ever seen this company do. They just screwed over millions of Palworld owners because they were jealous. The absurdity of this lawsuit is setting a bad precedent for the rest of the gaming industry. This should legally not be allowed, because then what? What if Nintendo wants to patent the jump button? What if Nintendo wants to patent all the basic 3D platforming mechanics that you find in Mario 64? I understand that as much money as Nintendo has, they cannot afford to sue everybody under the sun, but that still gives them the freedom to bully and take down competition.
Do you know what weakness is, Steve? Weakness is believing that competition is healthy.
That they deem a threat, because Palworld's numbers on Steam alone has to be what influenced this decision. Had this been any other indie that flew under the radar and didn't break records on Steam, surpassing some of the biggest lifetime numbers of some of the biggest games on there, Nintendo wouldn't have cared. But rather than doing something like putting Pokemon on Steam and combating this, they aim to destroy what developers worked hard to create and what people paid money to play, so they can fuck off. I will never buy another Nintendo console. I will never buy another Nintendo game. Why? Because I don't want the money I give them to go into doing things like this that I have talked about in videos for months, but nobody listens. Nintendo is basically saying you are not even allowed to be influenced by us, not even a smidge. This would be as if you woke up one day and all the crafting mechanics in every single survival game you loved was gone because Mojang decided they owned the rights to that. Nintendo is outright trying to have a monopoly over a gameplay mechanic. Not only is it anti-consumer, but it is anti-competitive. It baffles me that any Nintendo shills out there would say, well, this is just Nintendo protecting their intellectual properties. No, if that was the case, Nintendo would be going after multiple developers. This is a direct attack on Pocket Pair because the comparisons hurt their feelings. Now, of course, the lawsuit is still ongoing. There is no confirmed victory for Nintendo. Of course, that doesn't stop Nintendo fanboys from celebrating, but the removal of the ability to glide with a PAL is obviously a compromise that Pocket Pair is making in the meantime as legal proceedings continue. Whether it will be patched back in if they win, I don't know, but I cannot imagine them patching it back in if they lose. Hell, I can't imagine this game being online if they lose. I would imagine Nintendo would try their absolute hardest to ensure Palworld is completely removed from existence, in which case they would be even more evil than they are right now. But let's not kid ourselves, that is their end goal. Why? Because like I said, Palworld is the first Pokemon-inspired game to quite possibly have outsold Pokemon on the Switch. Instead of trying to win those PC gamers over, Nintendo said, fuck you PC gamers, fuck you Xbox and PlayStation gamers, buy a Switch, play Pokemon, even though it's clearly inferior. Gamers said, nah, we choose Palworld, and Nintendo said, well, let me go ahead and ensure Palworld doesn't exist anymore. Now come and buy a fucking Switch. I can't believe I'm about to dust off this ancient ass meme, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway. This is how the Mafia works. Nintendo is outright stifling innovation. They are not allowing people to transform the stale old formula into something better. So if they can find any little thing in your game that resembles them, no matter how much they have to reach to grab those straws across the room just to make it count, they'll do it. And they do it with zero shame, zero remorse, zero humility. Just imagine if one day Ford patented steering wheels and decided no other car is allowed to use a steering wheel anymore. Imagine if McDonald's patented it so that nobody else could use sesame buns but them. Imagine if I patented it so salt content couldn't be used by anyone else. Alex wouldn't even exist. Or better yet, imagine if Fender patented it so only they could use 6-string guitars. The possibilities get more ridiculous as you realize you can't really take full control and ownership over an idea, because at the highest level, it's ridiculous. This is the furthest I have ever seen any company stretch a patent. This really does mean Nintendo is just telling everybody, yes, we get it, Palworld is better. And for that very reason alone, we're gonna take it away from you. Just think about it, Nintendo is legitimately the reason we cannot have nice things. The fact that the smallest similarities, hell, not even similar, the fact that a gameplay mechanic that dozens upon dozens of other games can use right now as we speak can be taken to court to be removed means that a lot of your future purchases could be affected by corporations like Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft if any one of them decides to get that petty. There is absolutely no way this could lead to anything good in the industry. This means that any small-time developer that wants to actually try and challenge these big corporations will have far less incentive to do so. This is also Nintendo trying to teach a lesson to anybody else that dares to meet a demand that they are failing to meet themselves. They don't want alternatives, and they don't want you enjoying other people's products. Nintendo is the most evil gaming company on this planet right now, and you can't convince me otherwise. You would have to pay me an exorbitant amount of money to even support and play Nintendo games at this point. Be aware that your money given to this company results in you getting screwed over, one way or another. You won't see it coming, but when it happens, you'll be feeling it. There is nothing to gain from supporting a company that doesn't even want you to have options. Now, going forward, when people wonder, wow, how come there isn't anybody like Nintendo? How come nobody can match Nintendo? Just remember, that's because anybody who's tried is bullied out of doing so by Nintendo. When you wonder, where is the innovation? How come we're not seeing it? It's because companies like Nintendo financially ensure it doesn't happen. And it's moments like this that make you wonder, gee, how much of what Nintendo gets credit for is even theirs? How much about what is praised when it comes to Nintendo is even legitimate? How much of that innovation is actually theirs? Do they really get the credit, or have they legally made sure they are seen as the creditor? It destroys the very image of what people praise and think is the pinnacle of all game developers. They are the Disney of the gaming industry. Oh, but what am I saying? You know, all of this is gonna fall on deaf ears. because their NPC-ass consumer base are full of morons who were raised more by their Nintendo 64 than their parents, which explains why they have much more love for one than the other, and why they're social outcasts and rejects and weirdos. They have yet to learn how to love others as much as they love their brand. And when it comes to Nintendo, I am praying for the day they get knocked down a peg or two and are in a desperate position to win you back over. Not that they ever lost you, because all they have to do is dangle Donkey Kong above your head and you will clap like a seal, put down your pre-order purchase, because you're easy. So easy, not even a gaming journalist would want to play you. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you so choose to. That being said, I'm out of here.
Fritongo sucks ass.